I was at the coffee shop that night because my coworker asked me to cover a shift. It was a Wednesday night. I had never worked a Wednesday before. I was about to not take it because, down on myself and, oh, I don't want to, work an extra night. Before I was asked to cover that shift, I was put in a super terrible spot in life. I was super down on myself. I thought that if I had any sort of temptation, I could be, in the gutters in a few days and completely let myself go. The depression, anxiety, confusion on why I was put in this situation was getting to me. But when I was working that shift that night, my boss had told me that Passion City's North Cobb Community Group would be there that night. The host team gets there and they start setting up. It was about 6 o'clock and Todd comes up behind the counter and I was running the coffee shop and he's like, "Hey man, thanks for the coffee. Really appreciate you working here tonight. If it gets kind of slow later, here's a book, here's a pen. If you want to join in with us, that'd be awesome." He gives me a book, gives me a pen, shakes my hand, makes me feel really welcome and says, "And oh, by the way, our theme tonight is what our purpose is in life." It totally blew me away because that was the question I've been asking myself up until that point when I was put into this really dark spot. The first thing I said to him was, "Todd, you're here for a reason right now. What you just said to me wasn't a coincidence. I was asked to cover this shift tonight. I'm not even supposed to be here. This is not by chance. This is God putting you here in front of me right now." The Holy Spirit had put him in that place as a way to wake me up and realize, hey, God is doing something in your life. As the night continued, it got really slow at the shop and I ended up joining in and got welcomed to the different men's breakfasts, to the next community group, and to even go to church with Todd and a few other people on Sunday. It made me feel so welcome that these random people, strangers, totally came up to me and embraced me for who I was. So the next thing I did is I started going to the different men's breakfasts. I went to church for the first time at Passion that Sunday, and it actually was the first time I had been to church in a few years. After that first gathering, I started going to church regularly, and even though I Will message kept speaking to me every week, I became more interested in the community at Passion. A month after I had met Todd, I went to the May North Cobb Community Group gathering. So after community group that night, I had been talking to Matt the entire time, and he approaches me afterwards and like, "Do you have a few more minutes? I want to talk to you about a few things." When we were talking that night, he told me about a similar situation he had and how a relationship ended, and it was super depressing at first, but that he knew he was going to be able to move forward because he had his faith in Jesus. Seeing the strength that he has through everything he's went through totally opened my heart to trying to pursue Jesus for the first time. I had always been a believer, but I had never been a follower. After our conversation, it was almost 12:30 in the morning. We said a really long prayer, and I finally surrendered all my problems to God and put my faith in Jesus. Since that night, after I gave it all to Jesus, I've become part of the host team on the North Cobb Community Group. I'm in a fight club. I'm signing up to be a door holder, and it has totally changed my life. Jesus turned that worst part of my life into the best thing that has ever happened to me, because I never would have had any of this if that hadn't happened. Jesus has done immeasurably more, and I couldn't think of life any other way.